I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon.
So setbacks in the season, you know, like there can be a number of factors for this realistically. You've got like injury is always going to be a key one, especially for like triathletes, you know, like run niggles can always have an impact like on like a season. And then we've got like, if you do like your event, then obviously you can have a puncture, you can have, you know, you can fuel not effectively, you can have a bad swim, bad bite, bad run. There's all like these factors. I think like the key one to always understand is like when you race, and if you do have a bad race, you've got to always learn from the mistakes that you make. Like I'm a big believer in like always get athletes to kind of like, well, what went right, what went wrong. But when it comes to the, you know, like these impacts of like, well, if you get like a run injury or specific injury that means that you can't participate like in your next event, like COVID, it could be anything, you know. You've always got to kind of, well, work out like where you are leading into the event and then where you want to get back to. I think like the first thing you've always got to do is just step back a little bit, you know, like if you've got like this run niggle, then you've probably got to just step back from like training, and it might be that you can work on like a key weakness, because I think like as an athlete, like you work best if you're trying to achieve something. The key one, if it's, you know, like it's injury, then try and work on like specifics that you can, it's going to help like that rehabilitation. And it might be that you've been neglecting like strength and conditioning, and you've got to kind of incorporate like more strength and conditioning to get like to be stronger, and then you're not going to make that same mistake. And then you've like, once you know, like you've dealt with that, and you can think, okay, well maybe I can bite more, or I can swim more. It's kind of, okay, well how do I apply like that training load? And it's just like you can just probably, if you're not running, then you can probably put like more time into like the cycling element of your training, and then just be specific on, work on like those weaknesses that you probably can't normally do. Because a lot of, say if we talk about like triathlon training, is ultimately all you're trying to do with it is you're trying to push like this threshold out so you can sustain it like more and more. And it's very hard a lot of the time to actually push like your, you know, like your levels of training onwards. But it might be if you've got like a specific injury that you can really try to push like your cycling onwards, or, you know, like your technique in swimming or something, or to that next level. You know, like you can push like all your zones on, but ultimately that can, say if it's like this running injury, it can make you run quicker off the bike, like long term, because you're going to be a lot stronger. And then once you get back into training, you can, like the key is that you kind of just start really steady, you know, like rather than going into it, right, I'm better now, I'm going to smash out like 3 hours of running a week. You're probably better go, right, okay, well I'm going to do an hour's extra strength and conditioning. I might just do like an hour's running, and you start to build that. So you're trying to build like that load up really steady, and then that ultimately that's going to make you into like a stronger athlete. So that's like, you know, like injuries. I think the hardest one is always like, say if you get like a puncture in like an event, been waiting all year for this, and then you can't finish, then that makes it like really hard. But what you need to be able to do in that situation is, okay, decompress for a week, kind of get the calendar out, then hopefully you can like you can really like book like this event that you're going to do, and you start to build like the training into it. The art of training at any level is just learning from like the mistakes, and that's what's going to ultimately make you stronger and into this like better athlete. And every athlete has made those mistakes. What made me into the coach and the athlete that I am, I had a lot of success, but it was learning from the failings that made me into a better athlete. Like, what can I do to get better and improve?